Okay. Our next session is by Hrishikesh on the programming part 2. Yesterday you learned what is the computational thinkings and what are the basic of computers, and today he will be talking about the Python. Python is also like a mainly used in many of these AI, ML, and it is one of the emerging programming language. And I request Hrishikesh to start the session.
Hi everyone. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Yeah. I'll start sharing my screen. Just 1 second. Can you see my browser?
Yes, visible, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll start presenting. All right. Okay. I was attending the previous session, and when I was attending the previous session, I was thinking most of what I'm going to cover in this session is very much being covered by in the previous session. So it was very nice. So this session will be a very good follow-up of the previous session, and I'm very thankful to the previous speaker to introduce a lot of good concept along the way. So I'll just check the chat. How many people from yesterday are here? I think we have a couple of folks from yesterday as well. Welcome back and welcome to new people joining this session. So wherever you are seeing why, it means it is a slide from yesterday. So these are things that we can cover today if we have time towards the end of the session, but otherwise we are not going to cover it. So we are going to skip this. We are going to skip this today, and we are going to skip this again. And this is where we start today. So introduction to Python. So yesterday we came to know about programming languages, and in the previous session we were doing code. In the ID that sir showed, we saw code that was C programming language, right? So you were seeing this different things, that the different statements that were being written to turn the light on and off, right? Or turn the LED on and off, right? So in this session, we will get deep into that code itself. On the left side of the screen, whatever you are seeing, we will be focusing more on those things. So there was a bug, there was an issue that Sir faced when he put those statements inside one of the function, and then he put it outside the function, and then the code start working. So we will get more into why those things happened, what was the actual thing that happened there, right? So yeah, so this is the agenda for today. So we will learn about code, what is a program, what is a file, and what is a process. And we will understand the basic programming concept of variables, data types, operations, statements. So data types was something that Sir was mentioning in the previous session. Then we'll learn about what is sequences, conditional statements. There are sometimes statements can be conditional, if this, then that kind of stuff. And then we can have loops. You have the same thing going on and in again. In the previous session, we were using loops to keep the lights turned on again and again, right? And I think I think, and then we have inputs and outputs, functions, debugging. So a lot of things to cover in today's session. So let's get started already. And hopefully by the end of this session, so this is the main goal. So we have this code snippet right here. Our goal today at the end of this session is that you should be understand what's you are seeing in your screen. Uh, Let me know if everything's making sense so far. You can give me a thumbs up or open your mic and speak. Yeah, thank you. So what I will do here is I will, yeah, Mariam. Yeah. So I'll do one thing. Okay. So first of all, I want to identify this is one of the primary differences, but I wanted to open this thing. Just hold on 1 second. Just log in here. Yeah. Okay. So this interface is very much similar to what you were seeing in the previous one. So to take a screenshot here. Rectangular region. Okay. So I put the whole screenshot in here. This is the thing that we are going to. So at the end of this session, we want to be able to say things like, what is this? 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 And what is this? So by the end of this session, we will have names for each of them. And you have, so the good thing about this session is you have seen all of this in the previous session already. So it will be easier for you. So I quickly wanted to go over the differences between code, program, file, and process. So code, snippet of code, right? So right here, you are seeing a bunch of text, right? This text is just code. You can say, okay, if you just copy these 2 lines, you can say this is a snippet of code. But just these 2 lines doesn't make the whole program, right? So this entire thing is the program. So if I just pick something from here, this is a snippet of code. If I do the whole thing, this is the entire program that is supposed to do something. So in here, what it is doing is it is playing a game. We will get into what exactly it is doing in some time. But just know that this little thing is a code snippet and the whole thing is the program. And then we have file. So usually usually how we deal with programs is we store these things in files. So this thing is in a file. This is main.py. So in our previous session, we had we were writing that in an IDE, that file would be something .c because it was a C programming file. So here we are writing a Python file. So here it is .py. So if it was something, if it was some other language, Java, OCaml, or any other language to be just here. So those things will be with that extension. So where this file is contained in the file system, if you want to copy that file around, so just like you copy music around, right? You copy your movies from your friends. So programs are also just files, which are just text, just like you copy PDFs around. So this program lives in a file, right? So that's the distinction between file, program, and code snippet. And lastly, we have process. So this is a program, right? So this program has to do something right now. I told this is a game, right? What this does is it generates a random number and we have to guess what that number is, right? So yeah, go ahead, please. Hello. Uh, I think somebody just unmuted themselves by mistake. Okay, I'll continue. So here, this is the program. And when we run it, it becomes the process. So the running version of a program is the process. So right now we can see this is just text, but we are not able to interact with it. But when we click on run here, it is saying enter your guess. Go and run here. I'll play 2 and then enter. So something is happening, right? This right here, the running version is the process. By the way, if you want to check this thing in real time, if you have a computer lying around, you can go to this link and you can check it out. But I will have it in the UI itself. But it's not a requirement. You can just keep on watching the screen for now. So yeah, so this is the program. And when it runs, it does something. When it is doing, Kargil, yes, you have a hand up. Speak, please. I think they have a hand up by mistake. Yeah, I guess. So yeah. So this is the process, right? Next. So let me know if so far all good. Any questions? I guess no questions. So we'll start with something. So let me just ask you, any of you have done Python programming before? Feel free to like comment if you have, or even if you know, if you have not, you can put it there. Saparma have not. No, sir. Got 3 no's here. Okay. Okay. So let's start with everything. So in this session, I don't have a very Heather has done a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Great. So what I have, like, if you look into my slides, I have nothing. I have just the names here. So what I decided to do for this slide is I will go along with you and learn along with you. So this will give you, so Tasishwar said a couple of minutes ago, so there are so many things on the internet you can go learn on its own. So my idea of today's session was, I mean, you can always go to YouTube and probably there will be better videos than you are spending 1 hour here, right? You can find better videos of someone explaining Python on internet. So why are you spending 1 hour here? So I thought it would be a better use of time to spend this time like showing you how to understand these things in a more in a way that would give you the right answers from the internet. So these are the topics that we are going to learn right here. And once we learn this topic, this entire program will make sense to us. We'll even play this game. But for that, so these are, so those my slides are basically just explanations. So those things right here, sequencing, conditional statement. So we, as we are in the slides, we will go Google it, we'll understand what that concept is. And along that way, the Googling thing and searching for the correct information, that is one of the like more core skills that you want to learn when you are trying to learn something, right? Because otherwise we can always learn these concepts from the internet, right? But how we want to learn it from the internet is the key thing, right? So here I will just split my screen. uh how do I split my screen here? I guess this. Can I do this more? Just hold on. I'll just spread it around. Someone has drawn something on the screen. Okay. Yeah. So can you see my split screen? Yeah, I think yeah. Good. Good. Okay. So a lot of people said they have, this is their first time introduction to Python. So first of all, when I'm learning anything new, the first thing I go is the Wikipedia. So if I open Python's Wikipedia, I say Python is a high-level general purpose language, design something, code reliability, something, something, right? This is the Python logo. So from yesterday's session, we understood there are high-level languages which go through some translation, and then we get things that the computers understand, zeros and ones. And Python just does that. In the previous session, we saw Sir wrote C code in the left side of the screen, and then it compiled, and then it was running on that Arduino board, right? So Sir was writing C. C is considered a low-level language. Why that is a low-level language? Why Python is a high-level language? That is a different discussion. So we will not get into that discussion, but we will just consider ki Python and C both are programming languages. So both we write something in it, and like we can make the computer do things, right? So Python is just very similar to C, but it is easier to learn than C. Okay. So if you go to Python, and there is a website called python.org. So here you can, this is the, so for everything there is an official website, and for everything technical there is an official documentation most of the time. So you can always come to the documentation docs, and you will have the official docs here, Python docs. Here you read things that you want to read, right? This will be the official manual, if you will, right? So here we want to learn the basic concepts. So we want to understand Python variables. So we'll just go by Google Images. No. Yeah. So usually I very much like free code camp tutorials. These are very convenient and good stuff. But what I was looking at the official documentations, official docs. Seems like I'm not finding the official docs. So we will just not do this right now. So I will explain you through some code. Uh, Newton. Right. .py. So this is how we create a new file in Python. lsf.py. Right. So Sir explained in the last thing we can create different variables, right? And he explained something about data types. So here in Python we can put something name equals lsf. This becomes a variable, and then we can do age equal to 22. This becomes another variable. So these two. So if I print 22 and if I put lsf, so in any programming language, we have ways to define different things that we want to say to the program. So if we just say 22, so when I do hash, it becomes a comment. So in any programming language, what we have is we have the language, and if we want that statement to not make sense, if we want a computer to skip it, then we can make it a comment. And in Python, the syntax for making something a comment is putting a hash symbol in front of it. This little thing that I put in front of this is the hash thing. And when I put hash, it becomes green, and it is sorry, what happened? Yeah, and it doesn't make sense anymore. It's just not there. So, but then here we have 22 and then we have LSF. 22 and LSF are statements. So these are just there. So if I come here and then I do run, I don't get anything. I will stop. Delete this to clear history. Yeah. Right. Yep. I will run. I will not get any output. Not sure why is this. This is probably running for another session. Okay, this is running here. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure why this is coming up in this screen, but let's do something else. I'll open my terminal and show you. So this is a IDE that I'm using. So this is causing some problem here trying to get Python running. So I'll rather not use it and then show you directly on my terminal. So what I'm saying is we have 22 and then we see 22 directly, it's returning. We have 33, it is returning 33. But if we want to refer to 33 again, so 333 again, we just have to write 333 again. But instead of referring to 333 again, we can just put it in a container. Let's say some number 333, and some number now becomes a container for 4 threes, right? And these and in some number, here you stored a number, right? You could also store a name, say Ladakh. You could store a name, some number. So this is the confusion. The name of the variable is some number, but what we are storing is a string. So this is confusing, right? This is probably not correct. So this brings us to the concept of data types. Data types in Python. So yeah, this has an official docs. So it always makes me happy when I see official docs of things. So when I say docs, it's the official documentation. So the official documentation mentions Python has basic data types and this complex data types. Let me see base data types, base Python data types. Yeah. Okay, so I will just like take things from this and then explain you here. So now we have integers. Click on integers. So it is saying print 10. It is printing 10. So if I put strings around it, it is again printing 10. So, but if I do type, I'm not sure if this will work, but let's see. Yeah. If I do type, so to figure out the type of a variable in Python, what you do is just use the function type. We'll understand what is type. So we have print. When you just write print, print itself is a statement right there. But when you click print, what you get is built-in function print. And when you write type, what you get is class type. So if you apply this thing into something, what you get is, it tells you what data type that is, right? So right here, when I did 1, it is saying 1 is an int. If I do 1 in bracket, what is, then it will say 1 is a string. str is a string. And in English, we have numbers, and then we have sentences and words, right? In programming, and this is a very large programming vocabulary, the word string. In almost all the programming languages, whenever we mean sentences or words, we use the term string, right? So in C, there will be also another word called char, which explains to character. So multiple characters come up into one string. So that was very similar to the idea of token that Sir was explaining in the previous session. So here that is a string. So if I do something like this, this says it is baked. So that is some other kind of data type. So like Python has a number of different data types which are described here. So it is saying it has integers. We just saw here int, right? We saw that one. And then it says it has floating point numbers. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of floating point numbers, so I will not discuss. These are just different number types. So I will just keep it simple and keep it at int at this point. And then we have strings. Then we have something called Boolean. So yesterday we discussed not gate, which are basically just yes, no kind of thing, right? So here we can do type. We can do type true. What does it say? True is not defined. Yeah, good. So yesterday we also discussed about errors. So we discussed why errors are helpful. So right now I did a typing mistake. So what I did is type true, and the error I got was name true is not defined. Did you mean true? So in Python, so this is again syntax. In different language, this probably would work. But in Python, how you define these Boolean values, when it's Boolean, it's true or false, right? In Python, you write Boolean values as true with a capital T, no errors. If I write true, error. So this is a very syntactic thing to worry about, right? If I write false, I get error. If I write false with a capital F, I get no error. So these are very small syntactic thing that you need to take care of when you learn a language. So also when you learn a language, what does it mean to learn a language? Number one, it is learning the syntax. Like these are the things that you can make mistakes. So syntactical mistakes, if you don't learn the syntax, it's totally fine because the language will complain that's actually fine. But what you very primarily want to understand when learning a new language is the data types that it supports. So like we were saying, when we did type true, we got an error. But if we do type true, which is the thing that it supports, it says it will be a Boolean, right? So again, it has different data types which are there. So based on the different data types, you can write different programs. So like if it did not, if it did not have a Boolean data type, so for every time you needed to build a program where you needed a yes no thing, you would probably have to do something like yes or no, something like that, right? But if you have a Boolean function, you do not have to use those string data types. So because for defining yes or no, the language gives you support for certain data types. So suppose if the language did not give you support for writing numbers, integers like this. So this right here is a float. If I do type here, if there is a decimal thing, then there is a then it becomes a float. So that is so if there is a decimal, then it becomes a float. If there is no decimal, it is just an integer. So suppose the language did not support float at all. So then we would have to do all our calculation just using integers. So what does it mean to just use integers? What kind of calculations can we, so just tell me, so like can you tell me if the language did not support floats, what is one number that we could not define? Can you comment? Like so what I'm asking is again, so the language here, float, that means you can represent decimal things. So when I do 1.0, it is fine. 1.0, it is allowing me to do this, right? When I do 1, it is allowing me to do this. I want you to imagine if Python did not allow me to do this, what would happen? So like I'm asking about there are like lot of things that would become impossible, right? So there is pi. Suppose pi, you would not be able to represent pi if Python did not support floats. So there are things that this does not support. There are probably certain data types that Python does not support. So this kind of things you need to be aware of. What are the data types that a certain language supports, right? And then we come to operators, right? We have done variables, we have done data types, we want to do operators and statements. Statements we have also done. Everything that you see on screen, these are statements. Anything that is just going on one after another, these are basically just statements. And if you do some variable. So variable can be anything. I will just do anything. So there are certain rules about what a variable name can be. I will not get into this, but I will just say anything. Mostly anything can be a variable. And you put something in it, this becomes a variable. If I do print anything, it will print what was assigned to it, right? So this itself is a statement, but this statement includes a function which is print. I wonder, I'm not sure what will happen if I do type print. Let's see. Yeah, it says it's a built-in function. When it says a built-in function, that means a function that the language provides. We'll get into what a Python, what a function is in a while. So I think, are we aware of what a variable is? What is a data type? And what is an operator? And what is statement? I will quickly just put it here in coming back to this thing. So can you, okay, I'll use green. Can you tell me what target number is right here? In the comments. Yes, attempts. Attempts. Anyone? Uh, okay, I think am I getting a little too fast here? Okay, I'll slow down. Okay. ठीक है. Duplicate page 2. So we'll go over the slide again. It doesn't make sense going forward in the slide if like I'm being too fast and you guys are not getting what I'm going through. So we will have time to explain other things later, but we really need to drill down on this basic stuff. Okay. Variables. And then we have, before variables, let's talk about statements. So in any language, so this is .py. So like I mentioned in the previous slide, we have programs which lives in files. So this little file is a file with something, let's say the name of this file is cat.py. Okay. And here we will have different things in this file. We'll have different lines in this file. And these different lines, each of them would be a statement. Each of them would be a statement. So going back to our original example, I will just remove all of these arrows that I have drawn. Okay. Oh, I have removed this something. Sorry. Okay, I will remove this. Okay. So here this is a statement. This is a certain kind of statement. This line is another statement. This is another statement. This is another statement. This line is another statement. This is another statement. So everything we see right here. So sometimes there are composite statements. So this right here, this is a multi-line statement, if you will. So we'll get into why it is a multi-line statement. So things that we see in this program are different statements that it has. I hope that makes what a statement is in a program. Okay. And then there are variables. So in a program, in these statements, there are different things. Some statements will be, so like if we go back to this program again, some of these statements will be this is somewhat of a function call. We will get to what a function is. Don't worry if you don't understand what a function is. So this is a function call. So when a function is called, it is called a function call. And then we have a print statement here. We have a while statement here. So as you can see, these are different statements. This is an assigning statement here, right? So when we have these different statements, like all of this, and one of these statements, in one of these statements, we have something of a variable assignment. So it's very much same thing in algebra. We were discussing yesterday about how we do x equal to 23, y equal to 55. In algebra, we'll do let, right? We just don't. So if you want to like write an equation x plus y, if you want to write this equation, so like if you want to pass this around, so suppose you want to like write a formula a plus b whole square, suppose. So when you do a plus b whole square, a plus b whole square, so in this thing you are not doing a very we are not saying ki a is 9, b is 4, right? So you are just assuming ki anything can come in place of a and b. So here you are saying a and b can be variables. So when the meaning of the word variable is something that you can put anything in it and it will just take the form of it, right? So here we have variables here, and every programming language have different types of variables. So here x is taking 23, which is a number. But if x starts taking some string, suppose string could be a place's name, suppose Delhi. Whenever there is double quotes, it becomes a string. So things like English sentences, suppose if you want to put this exclamation sign, so anything that is you write in keyboard, those kind of things becomes string, right? And if you do not put it with a quote and that is a number, it will be a number. So here this is a string, and Python also allows you to put something like x equal to 2.3, which is a decimal. If you do something like this becomes a different data type. So these are different data, right? So where is this cursor? Yeah. So 23 is a different type of data. This thing inside the string is a different type of data. 55 is a different type of data. This is an int. This is a string. This is a float. Float means just decimal values. So here we have variables. These variables can be of different data types. And I have just shown you 3 data types here: int, string, 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 and then float. There are more data types in Python. We cannot go over all of them in the call, but like probably can share resources around it. Then so now we have these things. So now we have statements. We understand statements. We understand variables. We understand data types. So far, is it making more sense now? Let me know in the comments. Do we understand variables, data types, and statements? Yeah, okay, okay. So here I was already touching a bit on operators. So you can see this plus symbol here. Can you tell me what this plus symbol is? You can tell me from mathematics. What is this plus symbol? Or if this plus symbol was a multiplication symbol, yeah, that's positive. And but it could have been a negative symbol, addition. Yeah, it is addition, but what is uh, uh, what is it really? So you were saying what the question here is, if you see someone, you are telling their name. I'm asking what is this? So am I making sense? Like what is the type of that person? If you okay, I will answer. So my question, the analogy was, if you this is a boy. His name is say Tom, and I'm asking what is Tom. So you were saying Tom, but Tom is a human, right? So this was the answer I was looking for, but it is Tom. That is also correct. So addition is correct, but what I was looking for, Tom is a human. So anyway, I will put this analogy aside. Please go away. Yeah. So all of these are operators. So this brings to the topic of operators and operators, operands. So this largely comes from math. So I personally am not a big fan of math, but I am constantly learning more and more maths. So I'm starting to like it. But yeah, don't worry if you are math afraid or anything like that. This is easy stuff. So this if I just Google Python operators. Let's see if it has, yeah, I will have an image here. So how many of you know about BODMAS rule? Do we know about BODMAS rule from mathematics? Yeah, yeah. So similarly, very similar to BODMAS rule, we have order of precedence of different operators in Python. So I will just open, I'm just trying to open the image here. There should have been an image. Yeah, we got the image. Copy image. Yeah. So here we have it. So like there is a double. So usually how you write exponentiation in English? Sorry, in when you are writing maths. So how do you write 23 to the power 5? This is how you write in maths, right? Exponentiation. But in Python, how you would write is 23 star star 5. So this both of these are the same thing, but this is how you write in your maths copy. This is how you would write in uh, when you are writing in Python. These are syntax things. But again, these things have different precedence. So like when you are writing Python program, you will need to be taking care of these different operations. This plus that I just mentioned, right? Plus negative, positive, and everything. This plus addition, subtraction, division. These are different operators. So we can apply this just the way we can do these things. So I will just give you an example here. So here we have 2. Let's the idea of operand is wherever operator is applied. So in this case, this is the operator, and 23 and 5, both of these are operands. Operand and operator, that is the difference. This thing is the operator because it operates on both of them, and what is being operated on are the operands, right? So 23 and 5 are the operands. So here in my example, when I write 2, it's nothing, it's just a statement, right? When I do a equal to 2 here, if I do a again, so I'm assigning a to a variable. I'm assigning a to a, sorry, I'm assigning 2 to a variable. So a becomes 2 now, right? The syntax for applying a variable in Python is you just put a equal there. This doesn't mean a equals to 2. It's more of an assignment operator. A becomes 2. So when you write a equal to 2, what you read is a is becoming 2. A has the value of 2, but it doesn't mean a is equal to 2, the thing that we have in mathematics. So that is a little bit confusing, but once you start writing Python program, that will make more sense to you. So again, when you write a equal to 2, that means a is being assigned the value of 2, right? So now a has the value of 2, and 2 by itself means 2. So we will do a simple math operation. We will divide a by 2. So can you tell me what will be the answer? Can we get some suggestions on what will be the answer in the comments? A has the value of 2, and we are dividing it by 2. And by the way, in Python, the value, how we divide is using the slash. This says 1. Anyone else wants to give an attempt? I guess we'll just try if this is right. We hit 1. So here, you're almost right. So we get 1.0. So why is this the case? So in Python, when you do a division, it has a policy kind of thing that it will always return a float. Even though 1 is correct, the value it's here is 1, right? But the data type here is if I do type, I get float. But if I did to multiply a multiplied by 2, then I get 4. Then if I do type here, I get int. So this is surprising. And Python has a lot of surprises like this. So like as you play around with these different operators, with this different, so sometimes like a lot of these kind of surprises will come up. And like with the way we deal with these surprises is, okay, this is how it works. Then you go read some documentation here and then understand, okay, this is how it works. And then you update your own mental model. Like we like remember about how we talked about thinking and stuff the other day. So then you update your mental model. Oh, Python works like this, right? So yeah, so that's about it. So I think we now have better understanding of this slide. I will move on to the next slide then. I think we are able to, I think we are almost running out of time, and we were only able to cover one slide today. And that's fine. Let me see if I can cover anything else. Mm, okay. Uh, I think we won't be able to cover things in due time now because like it's a lot there. So let's quickly wrap up. I will explain uh, this thing that we have here. Where did that TL dropping go? Okay. 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 So here's what we'll do. We'll do a uh, thing here. So this right here is a import statement. So like I mentioned, we have different statements in the program. So here we are doing something called import. So this basically just brings in other code into your code. So that is something we do a lot when doing programming. So we bring other people's code into our code. That is how we mostly do most things. So suppose when you were writing that Arduino code or when you were writing any library and other things, so you will have other things which were written by other people, which you can use. So suppose the Python language itself, right? The language itself, when you write, when you use, suppose this type. So when you use type, so it is not complaining. But if I write something some random, it is complaining. It's but these type and this random word are just simple English words, right? But it is not complaining on type, but complaining on this little thing because it has the type built into it. So that's why if I do type, let's see what happens when we try to get the type of type itself. So these are the things that you want to be doing. This is how you learn. So like rather than trying to learn just from some tutorial and stuff, you just tinker around. You just hack around trying to figure out things. So if you do type of type, we get it is of class type. That's funny. Uh, so type is already in the language. So Python has already some dependencies which are built in for us. So if I do print, type print, we see print is a built-in function. So it is already there. But there are certain things which are not in the language, which we have to get from other places. So there is something called random, which basically generates random numbers for us. So that is not there directly on Python. So we are importing it. We are importing it from somewhere else. And once we import it, we have it in our in our program. So now from line number 3 to line number 20, what we have is basically a function. When we call a function, it is basically organizing these different statements. So as you can see, like we understood what are statements. So these different statements, when we say we want to give these different statements a name, we want to box it up. So whenever there is too many things happening, we want to put it into one place, right? And then once that happens, we can reuse it. It's very similar to like a lot of things are scattered around, and we want to move all of those things around in a single go. And we want uh, other people to just look at that thing and understand what that thing is. Similarly, why we give names to things, right? If I my name was not Rishi, how would people even define me? People would not be able to call me, right? If I said I had no name, I gave them my number, and then I said, okay, I don't have a name. They don't have a way to call me that way. I don't have a name. What will they save as, right? So by keeping this different properties and statements into this one block, and we put all this thing and we name it play game. So this right here is a function. This right here is a function. And in line number 22, we are calling play game, which is the name of the function. And there is a very interesting thing that we are doing, that is that we are using two brackets here. When we use this bracket thing, this is the syntax of Python, that when we use this bracket, it means we are calling the function. And when we call the function gets executed. So whatever by executed we means it runs. Whatever is inside the function, just let it go. So I think I will conclude the call today here. We were not able to get into the nitty-gritty around what happens in this function one by one. But like, I guess we can have it in later sessions when it happens. Let me know if any questions, or like I can go on, actually I have time, but let me know if there is any question. Otherwise, like, we'll probably conclude today's session. Yeah, Dawa, have you raised hand? Gurmeet, I'm not going to teach IoT. I am mostly uh, like not specifically IoT. I'm mostly around programming and this kind of stuff. But I will be around. R Studio is we will not be using RStudio, but if you want to explore RStudio, we can talk about it. So I'll show what RStudio is. So, so there is a language called R. So similar to Python. So we were discussing about yesterday. We were discussing about the different languages there are. So we wrote Hello World, which was very simple, and then I showed like different languages which are the same thing, right? So RStudio is more of a development environment for writing in this language called R, and it's mostly used in data science and that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if I have never used RStudio myself, but I think it is mostly used in data analysis and stuff. I'm not sure if we will be doing such analysis in the following sessions as well. Any other questions? Okay, Heather. If you could teach me regression, LM, it would be a great help. I am not sure if I could teach you because I myself don't know. So, but we could learn together. We could learn together. I am happy to learn it together with you. Sir, uh, I think we can conclude.
Thank you, Rishikesh. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
So, and see you in Ladakh. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mm,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
July.
Yeah, July. Keep learning, everyone. Yeah, bye. Good night.
Yes, sir.
हम में है उजाला अंधियारा मिटाने का, हम में है हौसला नई उमंग बनाने का, हम में है एक जोश हर मंजिल पाने का, हम में है एक जज्बा हर जिंदगी सजाने का, हम में है जोश हर मंजिल को पाने का, हम में है
हम हैं वो रोशनी जो बनाए आपका भविष्य और उज्जवल। हम हैं ONGC।